Good day, YouTube. We have the setup video for our Tyre Shine Sling test, amongst other things that we're going to be testing. Wanted to show you a little behind the scenes of what went on to build this rig. So I bought some angle iron, some square tubing, a 3/4 inch rolled steel, which is 19 millimeters for those of you not in the US, and basically welded everything together and used 2 pillow block bearings to hold it together. I'm an amateur welder, not the greatest, but I can make a good penetrating weld, so there's that. So we took this brand new trailer hub, knocked the bearings out of it, and what we turned into a bushing, this was actually from my 2-post lift as the risers for where the pads sit on a 2-post lift. So I had it machine lathed out with a hole in the middle of it, welded it to this hub, so that's going to be our primary piece. So the rest of this here I'm just stitch welding, well, not really stitch welding, but welding it all together so it's as strong as it possibly can be, and we're going to bolt it to the end of a utility trailer that I have sitting behind my shop, and then we're going to power it by a 3/4 horsepower electric motor. And this electric motor, it's 75 years old. It's from a 1955 Craftsman Table Saw, and it still works. It'll work for what we needed here. So I have a mill. I'm going to put a notch in the axle for keyways and for set screws and things like that. So after we do that, going to weld the axle to the hub, since we want it to be solid and be able to spin on the bearings. As you're watching right here, I actually forgot to put the pulley on, so I had to pull it back out, put the pulley on. So we're using a 10-inch pulley on the hub and a 2-inch pulley on the motor. It's going to be belt driven, and you can see the design right here. It's a flaw that we noticed a little later down the line, is you see how far off the edge, basically past the bearing, that pulley and hub are sitting, and then you add several pounds, several kilograms of weight from the wheel and tire, and it's going to amplify any vibration. So these are trailer tires, they're not balanced, and what I'm actually doing for this test is I bought 4 brand new wheel and tires for this trailer because it needed it. You can see those tires are getting in pretty bad shape, but basically once those arrive, I'm going to go and get those balanced, because they are bias ply non-balanced trailer tires, which is pretty standard for a light duty trailer. So this is just showing you an example of how it's going to go, and you can see how it starts to amplify the vibration from not being perfectly balanced. Lesson learned. There we go, cut the frame, move the pulley as close as we could to the bearing, so therefore the hub is much closer, much better. So I think this setup will work pretty well. We're just using this wheel and tire just as an example right now. I'm going to build a guard that'll cover up the motor, since we're going to have water involved in this test too. The RPM that we're shooting for, we were shooting somewhere between 710 to 750 RPM, which would be somewhere in the area of 53 to 60 miles per hour, which is, I believe, 88 to 100, maybe slightly less than 100 kph. We learned that because we had such good bearings here, that being able to stop this when you shut the motor off was starting to be kind of an issue. We timed it, and it takes almost a minute for it to shut completely down or spin completely down. So we had some nylon rope that we twist around and try to use that as a brake, and I think that's going to work. Again, we're still just making a few adjustments to this, but you can see that wheel's not great either. But anyway, so there's what we got: 709 RPM, which is 55 miles an hour, 88.5 kilometers per hour. So I think this should be ample for, if you apply Tyre Shine, you can see if it's going to sling. So we'll get to the setup now. Okay, so the setup is going to be, we're going to apply the product as directed. Wait the indicated time. So in many instances, this is 2 minutes, 5 minutes, 10 minutes, whatever it says on the instructions, that's what we're going to do. After that, we're going to rate the initial gloss. Now, I know that some of these are a satin finish and whatever. Well, we're going to rate them on a scale from 1 to 10. So it's not a bad thing that it's not glossy or too glossy. It's whatever your preference is. That's why there's so many different products like this with different gloss levels. So that's number one. Number two, we're going to spin the tire on the rig for 1 minute and then check for sling. I have a whole lot of packing paper. It's flat. It's about a yard square or meter square, very thin. It's light colored, and I can put it below the rig, and we can test for any kind of sling. If this doesn't work, we may make some adjustments, but that's the plan right now. I haven't actually tried the rig out with Tyre Shine yet, the way we want to test. So we'll see here. Number three. I have very sandy, dusty dirt out here, and so what I'm going to do is I'm going to take like a cup of dirt, and I'm going to throw it about a foot away, like a third of a meter away from the tire. Just kind of throw it up in the air and see if anything gets attracted to the product. And that's going to be based on the wind, because this is outside, so I can't really control the wind. I'm going to try to, if the wind's going a certain way, I can adjust accordingly. But the point is not to like throw it directly on the product, because they're all going to attract dirt if you do that. But just kind of put it up in the air and see how much it attracts. And let's see, number four, we're going to apply pressurized water from a pressure washer at a 45-degree angle to the tire at, again, maybe a foot away, a third of a meter away. For 1 minute with the wheel spinning, and that will basically it'll simulate rain, I guess. I'm open to any other ideas right now before we start this test, but if those four things you want, if there's anything else, but basically we're going to rate each of those, and for simplicity's sake, we'll use on a scale of 1 to 5, but I'm not really sure yet how we're going to rate whether it, the dust attractiveness, you can do 1 to 5 on that. The applying water at a 45-degree angle, spinning it for 1 minute, and then drying it, I guess we could see, how well it's held up, but that may be like a yes or no. Does it survive driving through the rain? Yes or no. That's important, because the water-based products, they're not going to hold up very well to something like that. Those of you that have used water-based Tyre Shine in the past, that as soon as you drive it in the rain, it's gone. So that's the benefit to a lot of these silicone-based ones, is it's very water resistant and it'll last much longer. The downside is it does tend to sling a lot more. So one other note, so I only have 4 tires. I'm going to have about 50 different products. So one of the things that I'm going to do is, between each product, I'm going to use a product called Wesley's Bleach White, which I believe is owned by a different company now. But it's basically tire bleach, and it will, you can use it on white walls and things like that. But I'm going to apply that between each product, and of course dry the tire each time. So I have my Metrovac Master Blaster 8 horsepower dryer that I'll use, and it's going to get a workout with all of this. Going to be lots of changing wheels, moving them, rotating them. This is a very involved test. As you've heard me talk about before, it's very expensive to do this test. It's taken a lot of time, a lot of planning, calculation, machining, welding, you name it. So this is for you guys. So I'm trying to make sure that we cover all our bases, And so this is your chance. If there's something you think that I should adjust or change right now, let me know in the comments, because I'm planning on starting the first 25 of these this weekend. And these are all the store-bought stuff. I know the one you guys are waiting for is probably the higher end stuff. I'm still waiting on a lot of those to show up. Some of the manufacturers have reached out and wanted to send me some of their product to put in this test. And if anybody else wants to do that, you're more than welcome. Just let me know. Shoot me an email. You have to do it from the computer, but go up to the About on my YouTube channel, and my email is right there. So if you guys have anything else you want to see in this test, at least involving this rig, let me know. The fifth thing, and I had 4 things we're going to test in this test. The fifth thing is the durability, or the longevity. And so I'm going to do all of that in a separate test, because my plan for that is to get like an old truck bed liner, the rubber kind, cut it into several squares, apply each product to a different square, and then I can set it up and like hang it on the back of my shop, on the wall, so it can face the western sun and get the evening sun and all that, but it still gets rained on and things like that. So that, see how it looks like after a day, after a week, after 2 weeks, maybe after a rain, something like that. But that's going to be more of a difficult test, because it's not really simulating real world. I know, like some of these durability tests that we do for ceramic coatings and things like that, that's at least it's exposed to the elements and stuff, like this is. But the important part of this is it's on a tire and spinning, and exposed to the road grime and things like that, where I'm a little hesitant to do a longevity test on this, but you guys keep asking for it. If you have another way you want me to test, other than just, I have 4 tires on my vehicle. I have four tires on my wife's vehicle. We could test 8 at a time and just, update every week as to what it looks like or something like that. I'm really kind of all ears at this point. So if you have some other way to suggest it, or that we test, let me know. So anyway, there we go. Stay tuned. I'm going to start testing on Saturday. We'll see how things go. I may make some adjustments to some of these criteria that we're going to test, but that's kind of where we're at right now. So thanks again, guys. Appreciate you guys hitting that subscribe button, liking the video, of course, and commenting to anything you want to see amended or changed or modified in this test. So thank you again. We'll see you soon.